Welcome to the second segment of our RX comparison, where we will be focusing in RX450h. 2013 RX450h. What an amazing marvel of technology this vehicle is. Now, what's different about the hybrid over the non-hybrid counterpart? Well, for starters, this vehicle is designed with what's called a full hybrid system. That means it can operate in battery only, it can operate with battery and gasoline together combined, or gasoline only. The advantages to that is that you never have to plug it in. This vehicle simply charges itself as you drive. Where does it get all this energy from to keep those batteries charged? Well, it gets it from your braking. It has a regenerative braking system that keeps the batteries always charged. Even when this car is coasting, it is still charging up those batteries. It has an on-demand all-wheel drive system, so it can actually operate in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And it's not just inclement weather that would turn on the rear wheels. It's even power. When you're demanding more power from the system and you're pushing on that accelerator a bit harder, that electric motor in the rear kicks in and gives us extra thrust. Now, you can quickly identify this as a hybrid simply by looking at the emblem in the front as a blue emblem that identifies it as the Lexus hybrid system, and even the LED headlights, which are unique to the hybrid counterpart of the RX. And the hybrid badging on the side, which also identifies it as an RX450h hybrid. Now, here's a sharp looking headlight. This is the LED headlight that comes standard on the ultra premium packages for the RX450h. And again, you see the beautiful sharp cutouts that they've added into the bumper, the sleek new grille that blends into that spindle. Gorgeous front end. As we get near the vehicle and we want to unlock it, we have our smart key system, which allows us to do a couple of things without ever having to reach for the key. Simply by pressing our finger right on the door handle here, it allows us to lock the car. You get that single beep. And then when you pull on the handle, there's a sensor that detects my hand there. You get that double blink, double beep, and it allows the vehicle to unlock and us to get into our vehicle. Once the key is left inside the vehicle and we try and lock it, if we ever forget it in there, we try and hit the lock button here and it gives us an alert, so it will not lock the key in the vehicle. Great system. For most of the packages, it also has the auto folding mirror setting, so that when I lock my vehicle, I can always do a little double check by looking back at it and seeing my mirrors have folded in. When I unlock the vehicle and I approach it within a meter with my key, I unlock it and the mirror retracts right back to its original position. In the event of a battery failure after you've used your key for a few years, it has the emergency key built into the key itself, which allows us to simply put it into the door handle and unlock our doors manually with a real key, and then enter the vehicle. We can also start it with the emergency power that's built into the key simply by holding it up against the ignition button with our foot on the brake for 2 seconds. We get the little green light that indicates we're ready to start it, hit the start button, the vehicle starts. Even in the rear, it's impressive. We have our clean look back here because we don't see the traditional wiper blade at the bottom of the windscreen here. It actually comes out from the top underneath the spoiler. That does a few things. Not only does it give it the clean look we see, but it's functional. It actually pushes the snow away instead of the blade traditionally, which tries to lift all that weight in the winter. Other notables in the rear is, of course, the power back door. With a push of a button, it opens our back door. Another push of a button here would actually close it as well. If there's anything blocking the door, like an object, it'll feel a little bit of pressure and then it'll simply back off. And our rear backup camera, which is conveniently located and protected underneath the license plate area and will require cleaning from time to time. As soon as we put the vehicle into reverse, it immediately and automatically activates our backup camera, and if we have the optional park sensors, okay, they automatically come on as well and tell us exactly how close we're getting. And we look for that little red indicator in the top right hand corner just behind the animated vehicle telling us it's time to stop, which still leaves us about 11 inches behind the car. Now, we also have a bumper protector here. This is great when you're loading cargo into this area, and it prevents scratches on your rear bumper. It also has a nice stainless steel finish unique to the RX450h, which gives it a nicer look and more protection again here. We have our tonneau cover in the rear, which covers our shopping or gives us privacy. There's little buttons that can easily remove it as well. And we have our handles on either side, which prevents us from having to walk all the way around the vehicle if we want to fold down one of our seats. Very convenient. There's 3 lights in the rear that give us plenty of light here, and when the door closes, it actually turns these lights off automatically. Now, the hybrid system also has a battery, a regular car battery that's housed in the rear of the vehicle, not underneath the hood. Behind each of the 3 seats, we have the anchors, and that's for the tether strap for a child seat, and that's located behind each of the 3 seats. Now, a great feature of the rear seats here is that they have the same adjustments, or very similar to the front seats, except they're manual. I can actually slide the seats forward or back, which would allow me to increase my cargo space if I needed to, but I can also recline them back, which gives you added comfort for a long trip. So as we enter the RX450h, we quickly notice the attention to detail again, which we see throughout this beautiful vehicle. We see the double seal here at the top of the doors. This carries right down into the bottom of the doors, where you get a seal in the back here, but you also get a secondary seal right at the bottom. And this, of course, keeps this area of the vehicle clean, which in the winter can prevent us from getting salt stains on our pants as we enter the vehicle. You also have on the side here, starting from the door, the auto folding mirrors feature, which you can turn on and off, or you can actually manually have the mirrors fold right in. We start with our auto folding mirror button at the top here, with the manual folding button just next to it. Our mirror adjustments, our door locks and windows, which are all automatic, and the windows all have pinch control. So when the window's rolling up, if somebody's hand's there and you weren't paying attention, it has pinch control so it doesn't injure any passenger. The easy access map pockets with bottle holders built in. And then as we enter the vehicle, you'll notice the buttons here for your headlamp washers, trunk opener, and our fuel release. Our extra cup holder, okay, which complements the 2 larger ones we already have in the center. Our dimmer or brightener for our console up here in the center. And then of course we have our headlights, which are automatic high beam feature, located right at the top here as well. And of course we have our control here to adjust our telescoping wheel, where we can have it go up or down or in and out. Now, just at the dash here in front of my knees, I'm comforted by the fact that I have front knee airbags both for the passenger and driver, and that's part of our safety 10 standard airbags. That's a class leading 10 standard airbags for the RX450h. So on the side of the seat, we have a few adjustments here. The first one is an optional cushion length adjustment, where we can adjust the length of the cushion for the seat. This longer one here slides the seat forward or back. Now the back part of this button raises the whole seat up or down, where the front part just swivels the front part of the seat and gives you a little more leg support. This is the one that reclines our seat back or brings it upright. And our standard lumbar control, where we can inflate or deflate our lower back support. This is our new Saddle 10 interior for the 2013 RX. It's available in both the hybrid and non-hybrid. Now this is our RX450h hybrid we're sitting in, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the differences and what you get in this package versus the non-hybrid version. Now, inside here, one of the things you'll quickly identify it as a hybrid is the cluster is very different from the regular RX350. Now this is the Ultra Premium package, which gives us the wood steering wheel, but it's got the new design, which gives it a much more comfortable feel, and all the buttons and indicators have been relocated for ease of use. Starting from the left side, where we have our volume up-down button with our mode control underneath. Mode allows us to go through the various modes like AM, FM, satellite, CD, or Bluetooth audio. Just to the right, we have our preset up-down, where we can preset stations and just kind of scroll through them up and down from here. On the right side of the steering wheel, we have our display screen, which we can change with these up-down arrows what's being displayed in the center. Tire pressure screen, cruising range, average speed, average liters per 100 kilometers, and we can reset it from the enter button here by holding it pressed. Page 2 of information shows us the hybrid snow mode, our eco mode, sport mode, and our park sensors, where we can turn them on and off. All the ultra premium packages for the RX350 in 2013 feature this new heated steering wheel feature. The ultra premium packages in the RX450h also feature our heads-up display, where we can simply push this button and switch it from kilometers per hour to miles per hour. To the right of that, we have a button that can dim the image or make it brighter. And to the right of that, we can move the image up or down for drivers who are different heights. Now, the driver cluster in the RX450h is a little bit different. We have an eco indicator on the far left side here. In the bottom part where it says charge, and you have that different color blue in the first little quarter there, this is the area when you're braking with your vehicle that it'll go into the charge zone. The eco part for the next two quarters up here is when the car is driving more eco-friendly, and that's where your needle will stay as you're driving a more eco-friendly manner. If you're driving and you want to accelerate really hard and you're demanding more power from the system, it'll go into the top section where it says power. So rather than have a tachometer like a traditional vehicle, we have an eco indicator in the hybrid. This is our button that turns on and off our traction control in case we need our wheels to spin more freely and we're stuck. And then of course we have our EV button here. The EV button allows us to switch into electric vehicle mode. It's an on-demand system where we can simply turn it on when we want to, and the vehicle will kick into electric mode only. It does have to have a good amount of battery power for it to operate, and it will only operate at speeds less than 38 kilometers an hour. And if you're too demanding on the system, it will automatically kick out of EV mode and back to regular hybrid mode. Our standard heated and ventilated seats for the RX450h allow us to heat our seats in 3 stages for both front seats, or ventilate them, which simply takes the cool air from the air conditioning and ventilates it through the seat and pushes it out of the holes in the leather. This particular package we've been looking at here is the ultra premium package on the RX450h, which features the Mark Levinson upgraded sound system, 15 speakers, 7.1 channel architecture. It is one of the nicest factory sound systems in the world. Now, if we were to go down, say, to the touring package, we would still get a 12 speaker sound system, Lexus premium sound with a subwoofer built in the rear. And if we went down to the base package, that would still get us a 9 speaker sound system. All the sound systems are phenomenal, but of course as we move up and we get more speakers, we get a nicer and more finer quality sound system. Notice the convenience of having this opening between the two front seats, allowing you to put, say, a purse or a Kleenex box or even a few bottles of water. And it even has an electrical outlet built in for a 12 volt, so if you want to plug in a charger for a phone. Underneath the armrest here, you have a sliding little console where you can store your keys or your wallet. And then as we get a little deeper, we find our USB input, our auxiliary input, and another 12 volt. Now, on the far left side here of the map screen, we have something called map mode. And in the RX450h, it can allow us to basically split our screen up, have our audio functions if we want on the right side of the screen with a little bit of map on the left, or we can switch to our consumption screen. Okay, this will show us the energy monitor and exactly what's being used as we're driving, and still have some of our map on the far left hand side. Other information, okay, where we can split to a dual map or even have a compass map, okay, where we can have our compass displayed on the right and the map on the left, or we can just go back to our map only screen. We have the navigation available in this model along with the remote touch in the center, our little mouse, but it's not a standard feature, it's optional. With this package, they've updated the software and made it much easier to use so that you don't have to use the enter buttons on the side anymore, but rather just push right down on the mouse head. In the center here, we have our climate control, which is automatic. We can turn our fan up or down manually, of course. We have our front defrost button here, our rear defrost, and our side mirrors, which it does it together. If you turn that on. The mode allows us to basically switch where we want the airflow to come from, unless it's in the auto setting. And then we have our recirculate, our auto recirculate or fresh, or just fresh. When it's in the auto feature, it'll select when it should be in recirculate or fresh based on the smog sensors and how much smog they detect outside the vehicle. It'll also switch to recirculate when you have your temperature set to be really cool inside for the climate control. It's dual climate, so there's a passenger side temperature that allows us to warm it up or cool it for the passenger, and of course the driver control is on the driver's side. Once the driver is alone in the vehicle, they can turn off that dual control by simply going into the climate screen on our navigation screen here, if you have the navigation, which is optional, or if you didn't have it, there'd be a dual light right on the dash here which you could turn off. So in this case, we're going to turn off the dual in the center screen, and everything is controlled on the driver's side again now. There's also a couple of shortcut buttons here. Rather than going into the menu and then into the audio screen, we could simply push radio, and it takes us straight into the audio screen where we'll have our AM, FM, and satellite stations that we can select from. Just to the right of that, we have the media button. That takes us into a shortcut for the Bluetooth audio, or USB, auxiliary, or disc. Most of the models feature a single disc this year in the 2013, as people are turning more towards things like USB, MP3, and Bluetooth audio, having music loaded on their phones. Notice how the screen is designed and sunk in quite deep to prevent sun glare. Now we're going to enter our menu, which has changed for the 2013 RX350. You'll notice that the animation is just a lot easier to identify as you go through the various screens. We'll start with the destination screen, where we can enter into the destination screen and input addresses, points of interest, previous destinations. We can create an address book, find places that are closest to us, like hospitals, dealerships, police stations, and fire stations. The little back button, whenever you see it on the top right hand side of the screen, allows us to go back to the previous screen. At the bottom of this destination screen, you'll also see a spot where you can input your home. That's why you have the Go Home feature. And then another 5 presets: your work, your cottage, your friend's home. And you can input all these things at the bottom here so that you can access and enter those destinations while you're driving. The More button on the far right takes us into a second screen, which allows us to also input destinations using an intersection or a freeway number, if you know it, by map or by coordinates. Now the back button at the top right takes us back to the previous screen, as we said before. The next button in the menu is the Info button. Info will take you into a fuel consumption screen where you can track your fuel consumption. It monitors it by the minute, okay, and it even shows past records. You can clear it if you want and start fresh. Back to the previous screen, our traffic incidents. When you have the XM radio feature in the vehicle, it also allows you to have this feature which will list traffic incidents from closest to furthest away or on the current path that you've inputted as a destination. Back to the previous screen, and again. Now we're into our setup screen. This is where it allows the vehicle owner to do a lot of customization, starting with the general setup, where you can change the language, the unit of measurement, the color of the buttons on the navigation display, the keyboard layout. You can customize your startup image and load up a picture if you want of your family. As the vehicle starts, it'll display that image. Auto screen change, which allows the map to always go back every 20 seconds. So if you're in a different screen, you'll see it always revert back to the map. Our selection sound, our pointer sound, our error sound. If we press our little mouse in the wrong area, you'll get a little error sound. You can adjust the pointer sound volume. Force feedback is for the mouse. When you scroll over each and every one of these little boxes that's highlighted, you get a little bit of resistance, and you can adjust that in the feedback force. Deleting your personal data is very important, of course. Once we sell our vehicle, we want to be able to delete all our personal data and update our software if necessary. Adjusting our clock or language, okay, back to the beginning. Our back button takes us to the previous screen again, where we can adjust the voice of the person on the navigation system. We can do customized navigation settings, customized vehicle settings for our locks and our lighting in the vehicle, and of course our phone, where we can input various different phones to the vehicle. our Bluetooth setup, where we can register devices or our players. If we have a player that we want to connect to for our Bluetooth audio, it can also be connected through here. Detailed Bluetooth settings allows us to go and customize things like the name of the unit that we have here. It's typically automatically defaulted as car multimedia, but we can change that. Back again, our audio settings, where we can have our HD radio settings, okay? HD only or HD analog or all. Back to the menu screen. Now, we had a glimpse at our radio screen earlier. Now, on the far left side of the radio screen, you have all your presets, and they don't necessarily have to be done individually for each page by band. You can mix different bands like AM, FM, and satellite for each page. It's the box in the center, or on the far right actually, that you see what's actually playing. So if I select the station, it'll immediately show that in the box. If I select from the tab up top where it says satellite, I can select the satellite station and program it as channel 1 if I want now by holding down on my mouse. I've just selected 80s music. I can now go to FM, select the station that I like on FM by turning my tune knob on the right hand side up here. And then I go to channel 2 and I program my FM station by holding the mouse pressed right over channel 2. Now I'm going to go to AM and program an AM station that I like by doing the same thing. I'm scrolling down to number 3 as a preset, holding it pressed, okay, and it programs that as well. So you can see now I have a satellite station as channel 1, an FM station as channel 2, and an AM station as channel 3. And I can continue to do that through each of the 6 pages. Now we're going to enter the media screen, and at the top, of course, you can see the only one highlighted currently is the Bluetooth audio, but of course there's USB, auxiliary, and disc there. And whichever one's highlighted, of course, would be the one playing. We can adjust the sound on the bottom right of the screen, and it's not necessarily the same for each one. We can set different settings for each of our bands. So if we're in Bluetooth audio and we want to do a certain adjustment on Bluetooth audio, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same. As I scroll back with the left and right arrows at the top, that can take me back to my AM, FM, and satellite. Once I'm in satellite mode, I can then go to the sound feature at the bottom right of the screen and make my own adjustments for satellite now, and just press OK. The climate screen, you can see, is quite animated this year. It's a very user-friendly setup they've got here. You don't really need to go into the screen too often because you control everything with your auto control features right on the center of the dash here. But once you go in here, it'll allow you to get a snapshot of what the system is doing, where the airflow is blowing from, and this is where you have your feature to turn on your front heater defroster at the bottom of the windshield. Now let's just quickly recap some of the misconceptions about hybrid systems, especially the full hybrid system that we have, our Synergy system in Lexus. Do batteries ever have to be replaced? The answer is no. Batteries never have to be replaced unless they're defective. Since 2001, millions of hybrid vehicles that have been produced around the world for Toyota and Lexus, 99% of those batteries have never ever had to have been replaced. The remaining 1% may have had a defect. Do the hybrid batteries last long? Yes. The answer is they last, and they're built to last for the life of the vehicle. That's backed up by an 8-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty on all brand new Lexus hybrids. Do batteries take up additional trunk space on the Lexus RX450h? The answer is no. The RX350 and the RX450h both have 40 cubic feet of space in the trunk area. Do we have to worry about the batteries at the end of the life cycle of a vehicle ending up in landfills? The answer is no. These batteries are completely recycled at the end of the vehicle's life cycle. Lexus and Toyota have established policies and procedures so that to the best of their ability they can recover each and every hybrid battery that was ever made for recycling. Will the vehicle shock me if the hybrid system lands in water? The answer is no. Electric and hybrid cars have established extensive safety systems that automatically shut off power from the battery packs when they have a short circuit or when the vehicle is in a collision. Do hybrids have additional EMFs or electromagnetic waves that could affect possibly pacemakers or your health? The answer is no. All of the cables located in the hybrids are shielded with a special EMF type cable inside and outside Lexus hybrid vehicles, lowering the hertz range so that they are at the same low levels as conventional gas counterparts. Do hybrids have to be plugged in? No, they do not. The Lexus hybrid system is a non-plug-in system. It's a fully capable hybrid system. It's a synergy system that can operate in electric only, gas only, or gas and electric combined, but the vehicle charges itself while it drives, especially when it's braking or coasting. Can a Lexus hybrid system run on electric only if it runs out of gas? The answer is no. The vehicle always needs to have gas in the vehicle so that the whole hybrid system can switch back and forth as it needs to from gas to electric or both combined. So if you do run out of gas, it will automatically shut off the entire system in the vehicle. It will not continue to run on electric alone. Do hybrid vehicles require more maintenance than their gasoline counterpart? Well, the answer is no. Due to the fact that we have regenerative braking system on the hybrid for the Lexus, it's always getting assistance from the generators when it's slowing down, thus putting less wear and tear on the brakes than its conventional gas counterpart. Same thing with the engine. The engine on a conventional gas counterpart is running 100% of the time the vehicle is being driven. With a hybrid system, the gas engine is frequently being shut off, which produces a lot less wear and tear on the gas engine of the vehicle. In many cases, there's actually less maintenance. There's no transmission fluid, for example, that you ever have to flush in the vehicle because it's got a CVT transmission, which does not require that. So just to summarize on the 2013 RX450h, what an amazing vehicle to drive, to really get a sense of what makes this vehicle the most impressive and best-selling luxury SUV in the hybrid market in the entire world, and added all these new comfort features and just really overall spent a good amount of time blending it in with the new Lexus look and lowered the price. So with the combination of all these things, of course, it's sure to be a continued success in the Lexus lineup. Well done, Lexus.